back-to-back, once against the Boston Celtics, losing 112 to 96, and then against the Brooklyn Nets, losing 96 to 81. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to this episode of the Raptors Rundown, and unfortunately, I'm on vacation, so I have not been able to record an individual episode for both of them, and I would be lying to you now that I'm saying this, now that I've seen the result, thankfully. I was able to watch the first half of that Boston Celtics game because I was on a connecting flight. But the Brooklyn Nets game I completely missed out on because it was at 2 a.m. in my time zone. And I'm not going to lie, I thought this would be an easy win. I thought the Raptors would bounce back, but it did not look very good for us. And since I haven't watched the entire game, I can't really give a reaction to it. But from what I've seen with the reaction, from the highlights, from a lot of different things, it was another game where Scotty Barnes was incredibly passive. The Boston Celtics one was just a matter of us getting outplayed by the second stringers. And I think that's become a sort of trend for the Raptors, with our second unit looking absolutely terrible as of late. You're not going to win games where you're letting Hugo Gonzalez and Luka Garza be plus 37 and plus 22. So our bench unit got completely outplayed. And the Nets, the effort was just embarrassing. The offense was terrible. Scotty Barnes has apparently gone back to his passive self. Only one assist in this game as well as a passive player, not going strong to the basket. He's not very effective when you use him that way. Now, I could sit up here and talk about what's been going wrong with the Toronto Raptors, but I think it's become fairly obvious that this team, to be completely honest, is just not good enough talent-wise. I mean, the starting lineup when healthy is actually good. It's a very competent playoff caliber roster, especially in the East, or playoff caliber starting lineup, especially in the East. But the bench is a lot worse than we had initially seen. I mean, we started off the season with the bench, we started talking about the new bench mob, but Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick, and Ocha Abaji have all been massive disappointments. And to be completely honest, if Jamal Shed hadn't played as good as he has been defensively, he would be another huge disappointment for the Raptors. But he's proven his spot in this team just because of how hard he plays on defense. And at times he is our only plus defender on the floor, especially with that second unit. So, not naming Colin Murray-Bowles, who has also been incredible this year. But instead of talking to you guys about our issues, which you know what they are, I decided to start talking about some of the trades, the potential trade candidates that we have for this team. I made about 7 trades of all guys that we are being connected to, but let me know in the comments who you guys think the Toronto Raptors should go after. These are all trades that I see as possible, and I'm doing them based off if we wanted to target each individual player. The first one, it's one that I talked about on the TikTok. I made a little TikTok about it because Jakob Poeltl is always injured. You're going to see a trend of players, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl is probably the money made up if we go after a star, and guys like Grady Dick, Ocha Abaji, who's an expiring contract, Jonathan Mobo, who doesn't really play for us. Those are all guys that are involved in these deals. This one is for Anthony Davis, and we are trading RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Jonathan Mobo, and I put 3 first-round picks. Now, that is always the toughest part for me when making trades, deciding how many picks to put, because we have no idea how the Dallas Mavericks are valuing Anthony Davis. He's finally gotten healthy. He's finally putting up numbers. He's looking like he's starting to become back to his old self. So, you question whether or not they would deal him now. I know the Raptors have shown interest, but if they do go after him, I believe that, especially with Jakob Poeltl's injury history, RJ Barrett is honestly the only intriguing piece player-wise in this deal. So you would have to make up that value with 3 first-round picks. We move over to a slightly less aggressive deal, and this one is going for a big man in Daniel Gafford. We are trading Ocha Abaji, Grady Dick, Jameson Battle, and a top 10 protected first-round pick. Now, you may be thinking, Yousuf, I've heard reports about Daniel Gafford not even going for 1 first-round pick, and I tell you now that Grady Dick has probably lost all sort of value that he has. The only value that he has is as a streaky 3-point shooter that was a former first-round pick. He has not shown enough consistency at all to warrant not attaching a first-round pick to this deal. Because if we added a second, the Dallas Mavericks are quite literally getting nothing back for a player who is in their rotation. I think he was starting at times for an NBA Finals team. So they definitely would want something back in this deal. And I don't think they would be too excited about Grady Dick. So that is why I'm adding a top 10 protected deal for the Raptors. This is a scenario where Bobby Webster still has some sort of faith in the health of Jakob Pertl. And even if Jakob Pertl is out with injury, you can insert Daniel Gafford right into that starting lineup, and it's back to normal finally. So this would be a less aggressive move. I know a lot of Raptors fans are not looking towards those less aggressive moves because they've already lost hope on this team, but this conservative approach could potentially. The next deal is for Ivica Zubac, but I also had another intriguing player in Derek Jones Jr. Now, Ivica Zubac is out for multiple weeks. This is a deal where, assuming for some reason the Los Angeles Clippers decide to trade all of their pieces and build around whatever picks they can get back for James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, or Ivica Zubac. Now, in this deal, we are actually replacing Jakob Pertl with Ivica Zubac. We're adding Ochai Agbaji, Jakob Pertl, and Jamison Battle, and I attached 2 first-round picks, one of them being top 10 protected. I do believe we might end up needing to even attach a 3rd first-round pick because, once again, there's no real player value in this deal for the Los Angeles Clippers. Maybe if you added a Grady Dick or something, but player-wise, there's not really much coming back for the Los Angeles Clippers, unless they're big fans of Jakob Pertl. So you make up that value by adding 2 first-round picks. Ivica Zubac slides right into the starting lineup. Derek Jones Jr., he's an incredible 3-and-D player coming off of the bench. I know his three-point shooting has slowed down a little bit this season, but he comes off the bench. Your lineup would look like Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Ivica Zubac, and then off the bench, Jamal Shed, Derek Jones Jr., Colin Murray Boyles, and Sandro Mamukelashvili, and then someone out of the buyout market, or if you still have faith in Jacoby Walter or Grady Dick, you keep playing them. But this deal, not giving up too much. It's an upgrade at the center position, and it gives you another point of attack defender. Not really a lead guard, but it's some more depth with Derek Jones Jr. So it's a really good deal, especially if the Los Angeles Clippers decide to start tanking. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of LaMelo Ball, but I have to mock a trade because apparently the Raptors are the betting favorites to land him for some reason. And this deal is upgrading your immediate point guard with trading Emmanuel Quickley and Ochai Agbaji to make up that contract. And then you're attaching 2 first-round picks. Now, I did top 10 protected first-round pick in 2028. I, once again, don't know how the Charlotte Hornets are valuing LaMelo Ball. I assume they would want some sort of value back. Unlike a lot of people, I do think Emmanuel Quickley, even though his contract is not the best at all, I do think he is an intriguing prospect for some sort of teams. I think this would allow Brandon Miller to get the ball more, Nipple to be more involved in the offense, and Emmanuel Quickley, his playmaking is still elite. So I actually do think he would fit in Charlotte, weirdly enough. And then the 2 first-round picks attached, it's still LaMelo Ball when healthy, and a year ago he is an all-star. But as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this deal. Not the biggest fan of LaMelo Ball. I don't believe he's a winning player necessarily. But yeah, apparently we're rumored to him, so I had to make this deal. The next deal is really simple. You're upgrading your center position. You're trading Jakob Pertl and Ochai Agbaji and a first-round pick for Nick Claxton. Not much to say. The Brooklyn Nets are looking towards tanking. The only thing is they would now get a long-term contract in Jakob Pertl, who they could potentially end up flipping, whether this year or next year. But yeah, the main reason for doing this is to get that 2026 first-round pick from the Raptors if you're the Brooklyn Nets. And then for the Raptors, you finally get a healthy center. Nick Claxton does a lot of things similar to Jakob Pertl, but honestly, he probably does them better, and he is always available. He's been fairly healthy this season and in his career. So yeah, this is an immediate upgrade at your center position. Now, I also made a Giannis deal, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but in case if Giannis Antetokounmpo got traded to a team like the New York Knicks, I believe that would put Miles Turner as an available player as well for the Milwaukee Bucks. And this is a deal where you get Miles Turner. I know the Raptors were linked to him a couple years ago. He's been a fan favorite target when it comes to each trade deadline. So this one lands Miles Turner by giving up Jakob Pertl, Ochai Agbaji, and 2 first-round picks, one of them being lottery protected. I think the Milwaukee Bucks would just look towards getting as much draft capital as they can. I don't think they would be too fussed about the players coming back because I assume in a Giannis Antetokounmpo deal they would get at least one good young player to build around. So I don't think they would be too fussed about not getting like a Grady Dick or a Jacoby Walter. If you can make that happen with Grady Dick or Jacoby Walter, I wouldn't not do it, but I think this is probably the easiest path towards making a deal happen. You give up 2 first-round picks, one of them being lottery protected, upgrade your center position. Your starting lineup is now Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and Miles Turner. Floor spacer as well, more shooting on your lineup, and most importantly, a center that's actually goddamn healthy. And we have to end it off on this. Now, the Giannis Antetokounmpo deal is one that a lot of fans are very hesitant on because it would involve probably trading your franchise star in Scotty Barnes. Now, a lot of people are turning on Scotty Barnes because of the inconsistency scoring the ball. I'm not one of those people. I think we should keep our faith in Scotty Barnes. I think whether or not I believe the dream of him being the first option is probably gone by now, unless he takes a miraculous scoring leap in the next couple of years. But I do believe he would be an incredible second or third option on a championship team. So, whether or not I believe in it, this is the deal. It would involve Scotty Barnes, and then you add Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Ocha Abaji for contract filler, and then I have 3 first-round picks listed. Again, this depends how much the Milwaukee Bucks want Scotty Barnes. I think it would do 3 first-round picks because Scotty Barnes is a very valuable player. Some people might have. I've seen some where the Raptors only give up 2 first-round picks. I think Milwaukee would want 3 minimum, and that's if we include Scotty Barnes, who's a franchise-changing talent. And obviously, with the Raptors, you would do this because it's goddamn Giannis Antetokounmpo. Your lineup would now look like Emmanuel Quickly, R.J. Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Jakob Poeltl. You now have a lot less depth because you traded all 3 of your shooting guards. But then you would look towards the buyout market. You would also look towards maybe moving R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, or Jakob Poeltl for an upgrade for that roster because you are now in win now mode by trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But yeah, this is what the deal would look like. To end it all off, I would say this. I mean, the Raptors have had a stretch of some embarrassing basketball. I do believe that they will be waiting. They're not going to be in a rush to make a move. I think January 15th, nothing's happening before then because that's when Jakob Poeltl gets eligible. I think they want to wait for RJ Barrett to come back to see how much better this offense looks with him in the lineup. Jakob Poeltl is going to be in and out of the lineup for a while. I think if you do make a move, if I am the Toronto Raptors, I would look towards trading Jakob Poeltl for at minimum an upgrade at center or at minimum a center that stays healthy. I think that has been the root cause of a lot of our issues, the lack of size in the paint. I think when Jakob Poeltl's not out there, Emmanuel Quickly plays much worse. I think Scotty Barnes plays much worse. A lot of our players, they just need a traditional center in that lineup. So Jakob Poeltl being out has really affected our offense and our defense. And I think throughout this whole process, it has made the trade for Anthony Davis a lot more enticing because RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl have been out for a while. If you're worried about AD's injury history, Jakob Poeltl isn't really having the best injury history either. And then you're trading RJ Barrett, who it sucks, but you're replacing his offensive output with Anthony Davis. So then you look towards potentially upgrading that shooting guard position with another deal. I think if you trade for Anthony Davis, you must make another deal for a starting caliber shooting guard. But that is the deal that looks the most enticing to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure to like, subscribe. Let me know who you would go after if you're the Toronto Raptors. Let me know if you're still panicking based on the team. We have a huge game in a day, I think, against the Miami Heat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry that you didn't really get a Raptors rundown. I hope to watch the Miami Heat game. I'll wake up early for it, or I'll get Mondi to do the Raptors rundown. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.